Hi, and welcome to my video recording of my Booking.com database project that seeks to mimic selected aspects of Booking.com's booking system. Booking.com is one of the largest travel agencies, and in this video we'll be taking a look into the key functions of Booking.com's core features, such as its ability to store dynamic pricing, to store availability, transactions, to be able to assign users to a booking, encryption, and filtering. So to start off, we're assuming the user already has an account and is typing in their password credentials to log in, and this following SQL query here demonstrates the use of encryptions for passwords and retrieval. So we click go, we can see that we start the very basic password checking process where we'll get the salt which is stored in clear text here. As we move down, we'll have an if statement at the bottom which checks if the user's password that they typed in clear text matches the stored hash password, salted and hash password at login. And here we can see that we'll get returned that the password's correct. So this means that the user is able to successfully log in using their password. I'm going to move on to the next part of the booking process. So before a user makes a booking, the user may want to fill in their details first. And here we've already got the user's account that's inserted their main contact details, such as their passport numbers, their phone number, their first name, as well as their card number, which is encrypted. Now, we want the user to be able to show the card number as part of the payment process, but when we look that card number up in the database, we want that card number to be securely stored like it is here. However, it is important to note that I wouldn't use this encryption method if I had access to other methods outside of PHPMyAdmin, as there are an incredible number of payment card providers that exist to do this with full PCI compliance. So following the user's journey through my database at mimicsbooking.com, it's important that we afford the user with the ability to look for accommodations based on their specific preferences. So as you can see here within my query, that the user maybe has a preferred destination, which is Belfast City Centre, and if we click go here, we should be able to see a different accommodation that's returned to us based on their filters. So here we have a destination in the preferred Belfast City Centre, looking for a hotel and with facilities such as a gym and a swimming pool. They'd like to go to these nearby landmarks or accommodations near these landmarks, and they have certain activities such as a tasting tour and walking tour. And as you can see, they've returned this accommodation primarily in Belfast, so that's what this user is going to go with as a preferred accommodation. So from our first query, we can see how the user can find the preferred accommodation through filtering. However, just to prove that that filtering mechanism actually works, if the user were to filter their search by only Belfast City Centre or the North Coast, without any other filters, we would see many other accommodations come up like so. So we can see here that when we filter just by the destination name, we get other things coming up like apartment types. As the last query we had run, we actually were just filtering by hotel types, as well as accommodations that were over 8.0. Similarly, when we search for another destination name in the North Coast, we got the Causeway Coast apartment popping up for that. We thought that was important to link destination and accommodation, as the start of the front end user journey typically involves typing in a destination of where the user wants to go and returning many other accommodation types they want. But this query just shows that when we strip that back and don't use any filters except for the destination, that we can get accommodation names that are in and around that location that we'd search for. So another filtering that my database actually includes is to show the distance of nearby accommodations or addresses to the user's address. So if we click go here, we can see that near the primary inn, which the user selected, we have address ID 3 and 4, which is within 2 kilometres. So if we look up in the accommodations, we can see that the Belfast Ibis, address ID 3, is only half a kilometre from our chosen address, the primary inn, and similar with the rooftop apartment, which is 2 kilometres within it. We can also use this query too for other things such as looking for nearby points of interest or for things showing the distance that a hotel or accommodation is from the airport. So moving forward, if our user has narrowed down their search and found their preferred hotel, which is the Premier Inn, I'm going to show how my database employs dynamic pricing. So this query, we can see that 2 different prices were returned for the same room but on different dates. So it's £20 here, as we can see, within the month of November for the same room in the Premier Inn, but it's also £30 for the month of December. Typically accommodations might do this is if there's increased demand around Christmas time or around specific dates and there may be a less availability, or it could be to do with a number of other factors which I'll come on to. So moving on, for, one of the key functions that my database implements similar to Booking.com is storing availability of a specific accommodation on a given date. So this query shows the total number of rooms available on a given date for a specific room type. So we'll click go here. This method of calculating availability works by using this query whereby the number of available rooms is calculated by taking the total number of rooms and taking away the number of unavailable rooms. And here we can see the number of available rooms we'll have is 3. In order to determine how many rooms have been booked though, when the user makes a transaction, their booking will be inserted into the booking line item table and into the room booking table. So if we'll have a look here, we have no bookings, and then similarly in the room booking table we have no bookings. So to calculate the availability of the accommodation, we can see earlier that the total number of rooms for that specific room type within the Premier Inn was 3. So if we look at the booking line item table or the room booking table, which we are on now, we can see there are no records available inserted of a user's booking. So this then means that the total number of available rooms within that room ID is still 3. So after the user has viewed that there's available rooms on their chosen accommodation, the Premier Inn, and there's availability for the dates in November and December, we're going to make a transaction and book the room. So if we click go here, as we can see with the query, we've effectively booked a room on our chosen 2 nights for £40, as it was £20 per night, and we're doing it for 2 nights. Now this query should also insert the user details into the booking table, as we can see here, and then also into the room booking table, so we can see their checking in and checkout dates. So this means that we can now view our record, meaning that we originally had 3 available rooms booked between the 1st and 3rd of November, but since there's a record within the booking table, the room booking table, now we can deduce that there are 2 available rooms on these given dates. So we can see the record within the booking line item table as well to see the breakdown of the cost. So just to show that the dynamic pricing model works, if our user was to go back and make another booking on a different date, so for example in here within December, so for 2 nights, when we click go for the transaction, we can see that the pricing's actually changed from £20 per night to £30 per night. This will then insert itself into the booking table, as we can see a breakdown. So it's user ID 5. So there's a breakdown of the cost. So £20 per night for the booking total cost, and here it's £30 per night for 2 nights. This will also then insert itself, as I showed before, within the room booking table. So we can see a breakdown of the checking in and checking out dates, which will then help us to deduce availability. So there was 3 rooms available, as I said, but because someone's checked in between the 1st and the 3rd, then there will only be 2 rooms available within that date. So lastly, if our room availability starts to decrease, one way that we can actually change the prices is within the query. So here, for example, I have a set total line cost price per night and a number of nights times by 1.2. So if we click go here, that should actually affect our total price, as we see down to here. So it's actually increased from £60 up to £72, which is then inserted into the booking table. This will then obviously show itself within the room booking as I showed before, but it's just another way for us to manipulate the prices within our project, similar to Booking.com. So thanks very much.